Hey, sharpen your pencils and get out your calculator. Networking 101. Ethernet communication is pretty groovy, isn't it? I mean, we've got different ways of communicating information back and forth, but probably one of the technologies that you see a lot, but really may not even mess with as much, is auto negotiation, right? Auto negotiation determines how we are sending data across a link. So let's take a quick look at really what it does. Now, if I have a couple devices sitting on my network here, and they're wanting to set up just a basic session to chat back and forth, what you're going to have to do is negotiate a link speed and negotiate how I can move those packets back and forth. There's really two methods. There's what we call full duplex and half duplex. Full duplex means that, if you ever cut open an Ethernet cable, you'll notice that you've got 8 wires in here, right? Now, in a full duplex model, you're actually transferring your data over more pairs in this system so you can dump information off. And what it really amounts to is that you're sending and you're receiving at the same time at both ends. Now, that's pretty darn efficient, right? That's what we want to do. We want to be able to parallel transfer that stuff over as quick as we can. Send and receive happen at the same time. Half duplex, we send something over and then we wait. And then we receive it back. And it's back and forth. It's a lot slower method of transmission. It was designed way back when we had, a lot slower networks, 1 meg, that type of stuff. And we're having to really wait for cables to come back. What's kind of groovy is that if you look at Ethernet, it's so cool, man, because the history is baked right in. If you look at an Ethernet symbol, what you'll see is in just that symbol, that's a history of the Ethernet. The Ethernet itself was basically one big thick cable that you'd snake through a big old building. So if I had, and I've been through it, it's not fun. If you have like a 5-story building, then basically what you have to do is to get everybody Ethernet access is you have a cable that you snake from floor to floor to floor to floor. You put terminators on each end so you eliminate any echo. And then everybody connects their machine with what we call a vampire tap. And that vampire tap would snap in or connect to this network. Now you can see, since this was a common bus, it was important to know who could transmit and how much they could transmit at one time. And that's really kind of where the essence of this came from. Ethernet had since evolved and went to a star topology where now I've got a center of the network and everything else now is transmitting and designing, past this what we call switch block in this design. Now, how does this really work? Well, the network really kind of determines this. It's definitely pretty groovy how we're looking at setting this up. So let's go ahead and put our devices back in. Is that from a technology side, to determine our links, what we're doing is we're sending across pulses on the network to try and figure out how many of them we're receiving in a certain periodicity, in a certain time. That's going to set how fast our link is going to be. That's why when you see switches that are set up, they'll say that they're, bi-speed, they're 10-100, or they're tri-speed, 10-100, 1000, for negotiating what our speed is on that network. And inside of these pulses, once you negotiate your speed, then you negotiate how you're transferring your data out. These are called either fast link pulses or normal link pulses, FLPs or NLPs. And these happen regardless of how you're transmitting data back and forth. If a device detects FLPs, then it knows you got a fast link pulse. It'll be able to send traffic both directions. It'll be able to send and receive at the same time. Very efficient format for bringing our data back and forth. If it's got NLPs, then it'll know that it's going to have to wait. It's going to have that hold-off timer as it's sending data back and forth. Now, the question is, where this runs into problems is when you're setting this on the network and you have one side here that may be set up on auto negotiation side, and you have another side set up here that's in either a fixed side or it's in an off setting, right? It's in a manual setting. We've got that configured incorrectly. Maybe this is half and this is set on full, that kind of case. What we have is we have a scenario where we start having our packets colliding into each other. We're having our timing gets all messed up so that now we have full duplex that's sending this traffic and it is not waiting. It's sending, as soon as it gets it, boom, it sends it out. It sends it out. And half duplex is in, I got to change colors so you can see it. Half duplex is in a wait state. It waits for what we call channel clear. And it's saying, okay, do I have a channel clear send, or what we call clear to send? You'll actually see this old telephony term. If it gets clear to send, then it will send its data. And so what you have is half duplex flood, or full duplex flooding this data out, half duplex waiting. It's good. No, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, I'm going to send it. And then it'll send it right across. And then when you start looking at switch logs and people start complaining, oh, the network is slow. I can't get any data across. I'm getting all these retransmission errors. What's going on? If you look in your logs, you'll see a counter that'll say FCS. And you'll see your FCS error or your FCS rate just skyrocket. It'll go through the roof. And what that means, FCS stands for frame check sequencing errors. And that means that you're actually getting a lot of malformed packets. You're having a lot of wait times that the other end is not doing. You're sending so many packets that the other device is just getting overwhelmed, getting swamped, and you're having these numbers just skyrocket through the roof. The most important thing to remember about auto negotiation, it is a standard, right? We've had this out for years. It's actually governed under 802.3, not 1 and not 2, but 3 AU is what the standard is for making this work. Now, the interesting thing about this is, boy, back in the day, this used to be such a hassle because it was open to so many interpretations. You'd have NIC cards not working, different manufacturer problems going back and forth. But that was back in the day. I haven't seen auto negotiation errors in a very, very, very long time. So most of the time, the correct answer is that when you're setting up auto negotiation, you want auto at both ends. Auto is going to give you your best performance and your best benefit. If you have to set it up at the other side and you want to hard set them, we used to do this back in the day, you'd set full, and you'd set these both at both ends so they both agree. I'm going to do 1 gig full duplex at both sides, and now you're going to have an equal transfer at both ways. So you don't have that hold off time, right? You don't have all those FCS errors. Everybody knows how we're communicating back and forth, and everything works really good. Most important thing to remember about auto negotiation is it's automatic. It should be something that is set up by default on all your switches. But kind of what's going on behind the scenes is these cool little fast link pulses are determining what my speed rate, what my duplex rate is, to really make sure that I'm getting that right setting to make sure auto always works. If it doesn't disagree, if I've got auto at one end but not at the other, that's where you're going to start running into tons and tons and tons of problems. So auto negotiation, good stuff. Highly recommended. It's default setting, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if you're looking and you find a lot of FCS errors, first thing you should check out is make sure you go through and see what your duplex settings are at each end and rock with it from there.